Okay, I watched Send Help yesterday, and it frustrated me, but not because it was bad. Not because I didn't like it, but I didn't like it. And I was thinking about it, and I was like, well, and I didn't watch it all the way through. Like, I stopped after she killed the fiance, and he tried to leave on a raft, and she acted like she was gonna cut his balls off. That was insane. But listen, I was thinking about it, and I was like thinking about the fact that because I went to Reddit, like it literally perplexed me because I was like, because sometimes I got the vibe off of this movie. Like it felt like the movie literally emitted energy. Well, all things do, like from like the cover, the just like the vibe, like you like tapping into like the idea. And I saw the trailers and movie theaters whenever I was like seeing other movies. Anyway, um I think it's like like what I just realized is like and it's interesting because I was just before I even watched it, I was just thinking about like the concept of like well, I've been thinking about this, like just like what it would be like if we weren't dependent on money. But I think it would still be like I don't think we would have to um it wouldn't have to be something that like I don't think it would be like being stranded on an island because we already have technology, you know what I mean? And not that being stranded on an island is bad. Like I think it would be cool to see a movie that's actually just like cool. Like and people are stranded on an island. Like I was reading this book. Well, I was reading this book on Wattpad actually, and it's called Castaway. And they get stranded on an island. Spoiler alert for this book is actually crazy because I wasn't expecting it. And I considered myself like able to like I just feel like I've watched so much media that it's like you can kind of like it's like pattern recognition, but like bro, I did not know where it was going. And the island is alive. I told you spoiler alert. Sometimes I feel like the spoiler alert is not enough because it's like then it's like I say the spoiler and it's like that's crazy, right? Like anyway. But yeah, which is not even that big of a spoiler, you know what I mean? Because like all islands are alive. Like what exactly does that mean? But anyway, I just think like it would be cool to see a movie where people are cast away and they actually work together. Technically we did see that with the Outer Banks. That was a show. Well, it is a show. They were cast away and they did work together pretty well. Well, and there probably are other movies, but like none that I've seen. Whereas, well, none that I can remember actually. Whereas, like, well, that's like coming to my mind right now. But like, anyway, I just I think the part of it that upset me the most is like I was rooting for them a little bit, even though it's like they're awful. They were awful to each other, like awful, like worse than like any like enemies to lovers I've ever seen. Like, I was thinking like just like damn, like saying like having to like just like that's crazy. Like it was just awful in the very beginning, like awful, bro. Like I genuinely felt nauseous. Just like the way that it was filmed and like the way that like they made her like lips all cracked, like that's insane to me. But anyway, it's like that's so insane. Like it just like genuinely like stressed me the fuck out, and I was like, this woman doesn't take care of herself. And I know I'm literally one to talk. Like my room is like a sea of clothes, but like and like I've been like I've been like where like you don't really take showers and or where I didn't really take showers and like going like weeks like without showering. Like I think probably like at least a week, probably more. Like I've experienced that. I'm not really being judgmental of that. I'm being honest about how I felt about her character, and it felt like something was wrong. Like and they say like it's a comedy, not nair shit was funny in that. Like, yes, there was some things where I was like, that's absurd. Like, you guys are terrifying. Like, I literally Nightmare Island stuck rotation. Like, what the fuck? Like, but nothing was funny. Like they would say something and it's like, oh, I see like how this is supposed to be the comedy part, but this is just fucking scary. Like, and if you have ever like, if you're like a psychological thriller type person, like if you've watched those kind of movies, like it was reminding me of like some like deep dark depths of like psychological thrillers that I watched whenever I was a child, and those were horrifying. Like, I shit you not. Like, one time I watched this movie, and I'll go to like TikTok or I guess Musically at the time, and I'll look up movie recommendations, and there was just one of this dude who wore a cat costume and he kidnapped someone, and then he jumped off of, literally trigger warning, this is so insane. Like, it's like sometimes I just think about it, but like it's insane. Like, anyway, he jumped off of a fridge and broke this girl's back. In a cat costume. Like, insane. Like, that type of fucking insane. Like, fucking insane. Like, it actually like pissed me off. Like, it upset me. I was just like, what the fuck? Like it just reminded me of those kinds of movies, which is not, I have no beef with psychological thrillers, okay? I think I just have intense feelings regarding them because they are literally meant to mess with your mind, and they are meant to be terrifying in subtle ways that literally are meant to irk you. You feel me? But yeah. So whenever they would say certain shit and it's like they're like quote unquote joking with each other, it's like, that shit's not fucking funny. It felt like I was watching them. Like I feel like a comedy, like you should think that it's funny. Like you should think, oh, that's hilarious. Like in Get Out, even though I don't think Get Out's a little bit of comedy. Like, I was recently or not Get Out, Us. But Get Out's funny too. Like, just like certain moments where it's like, this is like, that's funny. Like whenever that little kid in Us, he was like, whenever you point the finger at someone else, you have three pointing back at you. And then one of the people at the table was like, you have four. And it was just funny. It was just a funny moment. It felt natural, and it's like, that's funny to the viewer. Whatever they had going on was funny to them. Barely. I don't even think it was funny to them, but it wasn't funny to us, or me at least. Like, I didn't like, and anytime I would laugh, I was like, I would laugh because it's like, it's absurd. Like, this is absurd. Like, and it would be like like, get me out of here situation. Like, you feel me? Like that movie just not Get Out or Us. I love those movies so much. I would watch them all the time. Oh, Lovecraft Country, also very good. I have not rewatched that one. That one made me sad. Anyway, some people would consider Us a psychological thriller too, though, because I remember I saw this clip of the last scene of Us. Spoiler alert if you've never watched the movie Us by Jordan Peele, please go watch it. If you haven't, please click off because this is like a really big spoiler. Like for the entire, well, not for the entire movie, but like it's a big spoiler. Well, kind of for the entire, like it's a big spoiler. But people were in the comments talking about how that was like so scary, and it's like, I always like, whenever I watched it, like whenever I've been watching in the past, like it never really scared me. But it's like, because it's like, think about it. Well, this is how I always saw it. Well, think about it like this, I guess. From my perspective, this is how I see it. Well, I saw it. But now I kind of do see it in a different light. But at the same time, like, that's their mom. Like, she saved their lives. And it's like, she also, like I don't see her as an apathetic being. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it hurt her to take out her other children, what would have been her children if she had stayed down there. It hurt her badly, and that was sad. But ooh, and I remember Anyway, I just saw it as like kind of understandable, obvious. He wears a mask, and is that not what she's doing? Their mother, like she's been wearing a mask her whole life, but to the point where it's like that whole fake it till you make it type thing. Like she is still the person that she is. Do you know what I mean? Like she's still a mother. She's still a wife, a lover, a human. Like, and it's not her fault that she was an experiment. Do you know what I mean? And she took that and she I really feel like specifically about this. Like she took that and she did the best that she could with it. You know what I mean? And like she's been through immense trauma because of something that someone else did to her, and she made the best with her life from it. And she didn't go out and seek to kill her other self. She just let it be, you know what I mean? And like so like she wasn't afraid of being caught. Like it wasn't like she like I just think that she just truly was living. And people were talking about the end and they were like most scary psychological thriller ever, and it's like, well, how was that scary? Like, do you know what I mean? Because like also I put myself in the kid's shoes. Like okay, well, at a certain point he understands it more than, well, a lot. He understands it a lot because he goes around and only wears a mask. And to think about it, it's like, well, how old is he? Like probably like 12. So 12 years ago, she's not more than like 30s. So he was born at kind of a really specific time in her life. Like, you know what I mean? Like she was still like young. Like, do you know what I mean? Whenever he was born, like not like, well, yes, young, like maybe like even like early 20s, like early 20s. That's young, and you're still processing, and she's still processing all of that stuff. And it's like, so it's like for him to be born at that time, that genetic predisposition of him appreciating masks was born into him as well, which means that she was still experiencing that feeling whenever he was born, or maybe she will always experience that feeling of like, you know, what if. And I feel like I especially relate to this also because like I understand what it's like to like feel like you have to like be coordinated in a specific way in certain social environments, to be really attentive to what other people are thinking about you so that you don't get hurt. Do you know what I mean? And so I just have a soft spot for her, and I feel like people say and I feel like him knowing, like I feel like that doesn't change anything. Now, but I do think that it could go two different kinds of ways for him, because like she definitely, and the way that she smiled was kind of crazy too. I will admit she did kind of smile whenever he like figured it out. So I guess that is kind of intense. But I don't know. I feel like she's still gonna be a good mom. Like, and if anything, it's like, it's not a, cause think of the fucking alternative. You want the other girl to be his mom? That's not his mom. Like, she didn't give birth to that child. She gave birth to the other ones. The experiments, and that's fucked up because they didn't choose to be in that life either. And as the being forced to run, like that's like maybe like she ran from her, like from the other world that she was, the underworld that she was living in, like the mother, she ran from that. And so it's like, that's why I feel like maybe like subconsciously I was like, well, he doesn't understand it the most out of everything, because that her daughter is still her daughter, and her thing is like running. Like she runs and she doesn't even really like it, but she still does it because, you know, well, in my personal experience, the longest time I was ever enrolled in a sport was basketball, and that was for 7 years. And yes, there were times where it's like I didn't like it, but it's like for the overarching theme of good that it did to my heart to like be on a team like that. It was like, it felt like whenever I didn't want to go to school, which was often, but the times that I did go, it did feel fun to be around people. So it's like maybe she feels like that, like, you know, she doesn't really like to run, and she's at that age that I was at, like whenever I was like in basketball and stuff like that. So it's like I kind of get that. But yeah. Um yeah. Oh, send help. I think it was, well, to me it feels like, I feel like to me it was a picture of two opposing sides of white supremacy. People and because it's like and you know what else I've been thinking about a lot? Well, what I've been thinking about is like people of different ethnicities than European, or well, than European, like not being represented in media, also going through a lot of hard things. Another thing that's cool to watch is them. I watched the first season. I didn't watch the second season because, like I said, I feel very specific about psychological thrillers, and it's just something like the second season is, and the first season is a psychological thriller, but the second season it was more of, you know, themed like that one movie, like psychological thrillers that I saw whenever I was a kid, and it's like those are very harsh and very intense, and I just knew the second I saw that man's poop, I was like, this is gonna be fucking insane, and I don't know if I can clock in and do my hours for this one, okay? Maybe on the third season I'll catch you, but this I cannot do. But it does seem really interesting, like, and there's something really special about psychological thrillers because they explore the parts of expression that are scary, like, that are nightmarish, you know what I mean? In a way that is different than, you know, the run-of-the-mill scary experience that that is easily digestible as well. Yes, that's scary, and like this is why, and it has its like compartments of understanding. Psychological thrillers, they kind of make you question yourself and your ability to determine who is the quote unquote bad guy and who is the good guy, because in Send Help, you know, you want, well, me personally, I haven't watched a psychological thriller in a while, so I wouldn't consider myself a psychological thriller whisperer at the moment. So at the, just defending my credentials. So, because otherwise I feel like I'm really good at like understanding and like seeing what's gonna happen. You know what I mean? A thriller psychic. Yeah, it is. So yeah, at first I'm like, okay, well, yes, I did feel nauseous because I was like, this is just like guttural. Like the things that are happening are disgusting. Like the way that he's treating her is disgusting. The way that she is scary. Like it is a little bit scary because it's like you can see that she's very, like, there were little cracks, of course, like now, like hindsight, you know what I mean, that's like a little bit concerning, like, you know what I mean, like, but it's like everybody's different, you know what I mean, but like I just feel like it's like she was unsettling a little bit, but I just thought like, oh well, like she's still a queen, like she's a girl, like she's gonna get through it, like, and she's gonna like, you know, like they're gonna be stranded on the island, and like then they're gonna have a romance, and then everything's gonna be better, and he's gonna respect her whenever they're back in the mainland, and that did not happen. That did not happen. But I was rooting for them a little bit. But also I was like, I literally had the thought, I was like, I don't know how though. I don't know how they would ever make an actual romance out of this, because the things that he's doing and just the way that this is just not gonna work. And yeah, it's just kind of crazy. But it's like, But it's like, it's okay. Like, you know what I mean? It's okay to be different. Obviously, like, that's what's cool about being humans, is like we all are individuals. I just think it's just a bit scary whenever like, the thing that was scary about her is like working super hard for something and then kind of knowing that, you know, like, I don't know, there were just parts of her that reminded me of like certain experiences where it's like people who do certain things like are just not really people that you want to be around. Like, I don't know, like because like they like need to like be kinder to themselves, basically. And I'm not just talking about um but like she's very smart and she deserves to be at a job that appreciates her. But does she appreciate herself? Like, is the question, I guess. Anyway, um and I think that someone who's capable of hurting someone else doesn't really appreciate themselves. Do you know what I mean? Like, capable of hurting someone, like, okay, we've all like mistakes, like hurting someone's feelings, like, yeah. I just think like that's like an also natural human experience of like learning and growing, is like learning how not to like be someone who you wouldn't want to be around. Yeah. Anyway, I just think that, but I think that it was a really good example of, you know, especially the scene where because the fantasy, right? The horrible husband and the wife, who knows? Because I think that she knows that job was never really going to be good to her. She knew that, and she took that, and she put it into her arsenal as a reason to take out her revenge. Do you know how when in movies people will a woman would still go to jail if she killed someone who assaulted her, if that assault wasn't actively happening whenever she killed them? That, more power to you, queen. I don't really understand the logic behind that, but well, because it will not, okay, well, killing someone isn't great anyway, whatever. But like, if you like escaped a serial killer and you killed that serial killer and you found him later, like, if you escaped a serial killer and you found that serial killer and you killed him, girl, period, thank you. Like, please go join Frank Castle and team up with him. Like, that type of shit, like, just like vigilante shit, you got it, queen. Like, if it actually means, like, if you're saving someone else from being hurt intensely or being killed, then by all means bust it down, I guess, in a theoretical hypothetical situation. Now take that, and I feel like she is taking that kind of mentality and it's becoming warped inside of her mind, and she's taking the fact that this dude's an asshole to her and she's putting that in her collection and using that to justify her actions of being insane to him. Like, that's fucking crazy. And I feel like it's like that's like the whole like Emmett Till, like, white women being kind of at the epicenter of like racial and like social inequality, because they supported and perpetrated a lot of horrible things. You think about whenever, who was cooking with the fat that was rendered off of black people's bodies whenever they would hang them and then chop them up and sell their fat renderings? Like, who was cooking with that? Do you understand? Like, so I feel like it was like when, because I was just thinking about this, like, that's what I think that movie was about. For me personally, thinking about all of the things that happened in that movie, the cruelty that happens within that spectrum of experience whenever people decide to use their influence or their perceived in exposure, perceived invisibility to hurt. And I think it, like, I was just thinking about the moment when, like I said, like, the moment whenever his fiance got there and she killed them. She put those rocks back there on purpose in case she ever had to do that, and she did it. Like, that's cruel. And I don't think that it's, you know, I don't think that it's a mistake that, well, not a mistake, but I don't think that it was just a natural thing that, like, I don't think it was just like like a happenstance that those people were people of color that were killed by her because she wanted to play out a sick fantasy with this man and get revenge for something that she could have just quit her fucking job for. Like, she could have just quit her job and she would have been free. But she's, and it's just like, it's upsetting because it's like, okay, well, now there's no chance for romance. There's no chance for a happy ending here, so I just stopped watching. Because it's like, okay, this is clearly something entirely else. Like, this is not something. Well, there was no chance for a happy ending whenever she pretended to cut his balls off, and whenever he poisoned her. But for a moment there, it's like, oh, well, maybe. Maybe. But I don't know. But yeah, it's just sad, I guess. But it's beautiful. Like, I think, and I was looking at the reviews on Reddit, and people were talking about how they didn't like it, but the things that they were talking about how they didn't like it was the things that I think the whole purpose of the movie. And so it's like, okay, you just didn't like how that felt. But it's like, that's the movie, babes. Like, that's what it was. And like, yes, I didn't like it. I didn't like it, but it's like, I didn't like it because it was uncomfortable, because it was painful, because it was real. But that doesn't make it a bad movie. Do you know what I mean? It just makes it something that's really intense. And that's the purpose of it. I feel like horror movies serve as, well, serve is crazy, but they do. They provide a specific opportunity to look into things at a different lens and to actually feel the horror of certain situations in society in a way that couldn't otherwise have been felt. You know what I mean? Like, in like this is like a chunk example, like a really good example, which is like Get Out. Get Out was a really good example of this. Like, it's a horror movie that shows, and you know what I was thinking about as well, that delves into the horror that can come from racism and the past that hasn't gone away, but it's just gone under the radar. And I'm not talking about vocally racist people. And I'm not even talking about people who commit hate crimes, because that's always been a thing as long as racism has been alive, like the virus it is. But I'm talking about the deliberate experimentation and exploitation of black and brown and indigenous people and Asian people and Indian people that has happened for a long time and was under the radar, like the syphilis experiment, I think in Tuskegee, Alabama, where they said that they were checking black men for bad blood, and they injected them with syphilis to watch how that disease would kill people in Germany. A lot of those Nazi scientists, which under Project Paperclip, got to come to America and continue. Like, do you see what I'm saying? Like it's not that it stopped. It's that this sadistic way of experimentation and exploration, to quote freaking Whitehall of Hydra, but no, Project Paperclip, like the sadistic want to experiment on people like that has never stopped. Look at what happened not that long ago in St. Louis with the fog, whenever they were like experimenting on people with like this thick ass fog, and so many people got cancer, and experimenting on specifically like black and brown like sectioned like neighborhoods, like still like feeling that from segregation, like they in Germany, like a lot of the stuff that we know about hypothermia and just things in general come from torturing Jewish people. Like, and then America allowed those scientists to come to America, and like I think that that's a lot of my disdain. They sterilized indigenous women without their knowledge in America. Like, the things that they have done, MK Ultra, the things that they have done, I think that that's why I feel so specifically about synthetic medication, because is that not experimentation? Lobotomies, that did not happen, not that did not happen that long ago. Wait, that happened not that long ago. Like I think like the 1940s, it was outlawed in 1943. It like stopped. But like that's not that long ago. Like one of the president's daughters had a lobotomy. I think like a Roosevelt. I don't know. But like men could just send their wives like the mental hospital. That's why I feel so specifically, and I have been on medication. I have been on several medications whenever I was 16, 17. Like I got diagnosed and I had multiple medication changes, and it's like you are literally a guinea pig. I cannot remember anything of like how I specifically felt, but I do remember whenever I would go to the psychiatry appointment, they are taking notes on the effects of those drugs because they don't even know. They just have hypothesis, but it's not actually really helpful either, because the symptoms are a cause are caused by the fact of like just caused by zoochosis, caused by the fact that we are not truly free from slavery. So it causes mental pain whenever you're not able to actually understand that. And I've talked about this in other videos, but that's a really big topic. But so I don't really like want to go specifically all the way down that lane, because I've gone down that lane multiple times on my TikTok, on here. But anyway. But you get the point, like, and so it's like, I didn't, like, I would go to those psychiatry appointments every like 6 weeks, and it would be on Zoom, and they're like, they ask you like a whole bunch of questions, like, how anxious have you been on a scale from 1 to 10, and it's like, I literally would never even know. I was like, I don't know, like, I literally don't know, like, and like, the things it would do to my body, like, it felt like, because I was on a lot of mood stabilizers, I was diagnosed with a mental thing, like, and I cannot even speak to, like, but, like, I do still feel specifically about this. I feel like anything that humans are going through can be solved with plants and a conjunction of plant medicine, but synthetics, I think that that's not good. I think there's chemicals and everything technically, because like, isn't water I don't know, but I just think that the way that medicine works now is a symptom of experimentation in throughout the centuries. It's a symptom of experimentation, and I think that can never truly be holistic, because you're not being holistic whenever you're putting someone outside to freeze to death just to see what happens. That's not holistic. That's not giving a fuck about that person. That's just watching them die like they're some rat. And rats shouldn't be experimented on either. I think if you have to experiment on something else that's alive to see if it works, I think that that's kind of like your cue, like, well, maybe it's just not safe. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like if you have to put other lives in danger for a note on a notepad, then why not just, like, for medication specifically, like, why not just, because I do understand, like, the canary in a coal mine. You know what I mean? Like, I get that, like, in those certain circumstances, to, like, see if, like, something's safe from radiation. I can understand that. I just think, you know, there's, especially, and I think it's, like, really evident as well with things like someone who is a healthy weight being the spokesperson, well, one of the spokesperson people for a GLP-1. Like, that is really unhealthy. Like, I think that's just like a pinpoint example of what I'm trying to say. Anyway. Yeah. Brutal. But people shouldn't be in coal mines. Plastoline? Can we clock it? You gotta put that plastic somewhere. I mean, shit, there's so much of it. Like, what do you mean people were exploring a dump site? A dump site, a cruise destination? Anyway. No, but that's crazy. Like, do something with that plastic. The fuck? Might as well make it gas. And fossil fuels, bruh, that's fucked up. Like, at some point, it's like, that's fucked up. Like, and it's really not at some point. It's like, it's been that. You know what I mean? It's just like, because it's like you're using fossils to pollute the environment whenever you really should just be letting them rest. Can we clock that tea? Can we clock into that tea session?